From bored teenagers to digital rebels, these hackers didn't just mess with code. They made headlines, exposed secrets, and shook up the entire world. Some became heroes, others villains, but all of them left their mark on cyberspace. These are the 15 most legendary hackers to ever exist in history. Let's get started. Kevin Mitnick. He wasn't just a hacker, he was the hacker. Kevin Mitnick rose to fame after hacking into the North American Aerospace Defense Command, or NORAD, inspiring the movie War Games. He didn't stop there. Mitnick hacked tech giants like Motorola and Nokia using a clever trick called social engineering, basically sweet-talking people into handing over passwords. He even got access to Pacific Bell's voicemail systems just to prove he could. His arrest in 1995 led to nearly 5 years in prison and sparked worldwide media attention. After prison, Mitnick flipped the script, becoming a white-hat hacker and building a cybersecurity empire. He passed away in 2023, but his legacy still echoes through every firewall and phishing test. Next up is a hacker so big, it's not even a person. It's a movement. Anonymous. What happens when thousands of hackers decide to fight for justice? You get anonymous. Starting from internet message boards in 2003, this leaderless collective grew into a global digital protest force. They targeted the Church of Scientology, hacked government websites, and even declared cyber war on Russia after its invasion of Ukraine. Wearing Guy Fawkes masks, they became symbols of rebellion against corruption and control. Some see them as heroes, others as cyber vigilantes. But one thing's for sure. Anonymous showed the world that anyone with a computer and a cause could make powerful institutions sweat. And because no one leads it, no one can shut it down completely. But our next hacker isn't hiding behind a mask. He stood alone and left an unforgettable trail. Julian Assange. He didn't break into computers. He built a platform where secrets spilled out. Julian Assange founded WikiLeaks, a site that published classified documents from governments and military sources around the world. The data dumps exposed war crimes, political scandals, and surveillance programs, making global headlines. His work made him a hero to some, a threat to others. Assange has been under legal scrutiny for years, facing possible extradition to the United States. Still, his influence is unmatched. Through hacking and publishing, he changed how the public sees whistleblowers, journalism, and digital activism. Whether you see him as a truth teller or a troublemaker, Assange redefined what hacking could do. And speaking of redefining hacking, the next guy went looking for aliens. Gary McKinnon pulled off what many call the biggest military computer hack of all time. Between 2001 and 2002, the British hacker accessed NASA and US military systems, crashing servers, deleting files, and leaving behind cheeky notes like, "Your security is crap." His motive? He claimed he was searching for UFO-related files and free energy technology. McKinnon caused over $700,000 in damage and almost got extradited to the US for trial. But the UK blocked it, citing mental health concerns. While his hacking started as a personal quest, it exposed massive security flaws in government networks. McKinnon proved you don't need an army to shake a superpower, just curiosity and a keyboard. Next comes a hacker who wasn't looking for aliens. He was looking for millions, and he found them. Albert Gonzalez. If hackers had a most wanted list for financial crimes, Albert Gonzalez would top it. As a young man, he was already knee-deep in shady online forums, stealing debit card numbers. At one point, he even worked as an informant for the Secret Service, while secretly continuing to hack. He and his team stole over 180 million credit and debit card numbers from companies like TJX and OfficeMax, using simple methods like SQL injection. Just one attack cost TJX an estimated $256 million. Gonzalez's downfall came in 2008, and he was sentenced to 20 years in prison. His tactics were bold, but his story became a warning for every business storing customer data online. From million-dollar heists, let's jump to a teenager who shut down the biggest websites in the world, Kelce. He was just 15 when he broke the internet. Michael Kelce, known online as Mafia Boy, launched a massive DDoS attack in 2000, crashing Yahoo, CNN, Dell, eBay, and Amazon, all within a week. His tools? A bunch of hijacked university computers. The attacks cost companies millions and sparked a wave of panic. If a teenager could do this with basic tools, how secure was the internet, really? Governments rushed to create new cybercrime laws, and businesses scrambled to update their security. Today, Kelce works as a cybersecurity expert, helping companies defend against the very tactics he once used. He proved that age doesn't matter when it comes to impact. Now, let's talk about a hacker who blended mischief and warning signs into one unforgettable legacy. Adrien Lammo, known as the homeless hacker. Adrien Lammo didn't need a fixed address, just a laptop and Wi-Fi. He gained fame for hacking big names like Yahoo, AOL, and even the New York Times. But instead of stealing or crashing systems, he'd notify the companies and the press about their vulnerabilities. One of his most famous stunts was adding his own name to the Times op-ed contributor list. Lammo's story took a sharp turn when he reported whistleblower Chelsea Manning to the authorities, earning praise and criticism alike. He passed away in 2018, but his unique blend of grey hat hacking and ethical ambiguity still sparks debates in the hacker world. Ready for a hacker who took control of the phone lines and won a Porsche? Kevin Pollson, Dark Dante. Back in the 80s, Kevin Pollson, aka Dark Dante, hacked into ARPANET, the Pentagon's private network, before he turned 18. But that was just his warm-up. In 1990, he pulled off one of the most bizarre hacks in radio history. Pollson hijacked the phone lines of a Los Angeles radio station to become the 100-second caller, winning a Porsche, a vacation, and $20,000. The stunt landed him in jail and got him banned from using computers for 3 years. But Pollson flipped the script. He became a respected journalist and co-developed Secure Drop, a tool that helps whistleblowers safely share secrets with reporters. From teen hacker to digital watchdog, that's one wild ride. From here, we dive into a hacker who didn't care about money. He built armies of infected computers. Jansen, James, and Cheddar. Jansen, James, and Cheddar didn't chase headlines. He chased systems. His focus wasn't fame or fraud, but botnets, swarms of infected computers controlled remotely. In 2005, he quietly infected over 400,000 machines, turning them into a massive digital army. What did he do with that power? He sold access to these compromised networks to advertisers and hackers, turning profit from machines most people didn't know were infected. His work made him the first hacker in US history to be jailed for using botnet technology. He served 57 months in prison and was fined $75,000. And Cheddar's case changed the game. It showed that hackers didn't need to steal, just control. He was calm, calculated, and ahead of his time. His legacy? He proved malware wasn't just malicious. It could be monetized. Now meet a hacker who was so stealthy no one even knows his real name. Astra. For nearly 5 years, a mysterious hacker called Astra quietly stole military-grade secrets from the French aviation company Dassault Group. Unlike flashy hackers, Astra never craved attention, only profit. Between 2002 and 2008, this unidentified mastermind, later revealed to be a 58-year-old Greek mathematician, extracted sensitive data related to jet fighters and weapons systems. Then he sold it to nearly 250 buyers worldwide, costing Dassault over $360 million. Despite the scale, his identity remains hidden to this day. No mugshots, no real name, just a code name meaning weapon in Sanskrit. Astra's hack wasn't just a theft. It was an industrial espionage masterclass. Authorities caught him in Athens, but his silence since has only deepened the mystery. He wasn't a showman, he was a ghost. And now, a hacker whose mischief accidentally laid the groundwork for Apple Inc. Steve Wozniak, long before co-founding Apple, Steve Wozniak was a teenage hacker obsessed with technology. In 1971, he read about blue boxes, devices that mimicked telephone tones, tricking phone networks into offering free long-distance calls. Teaming up with Steve Jobs, the duo began building and selling these boxes at $150 each. Wozniak even used one to prank call the Vatican, pretending to be Henry Kissinger. They weren't thieves, they were curious innovators. Wozniak would later say, "If we wouldn't have made blue boxes, there would have been no Apple." His early experiments with hacking systems pushed the limits of tech and law. Though technically illegal, their work with blue boxes shaped their approach to computing. Woz's legacy as a hacker is less about crime and more about creativity. But the next hacker on our list faced a tragic end after being wrongfully accused. Jonathan James. Jonathan James made history at just 15 years old. Under the alias Comrade, he hacked into NASA and the US Department of Defense, downloading software worth over $1.7 million and reading thousands of internal messages. His skills shocked officials, making him the first juvenile convicted under US cybercrime laws. He received house arrest and a computer use ban. Years later, the TJX data breach occurred, and though there was no solid evidence, James was suspected. Overwhelmed by the investigation and feeling trapped, he died by suicide in 2008. In his note, he wrote, "I have no faith in the justice system." His story is a sobering reminder of how youthful curiosity can spiral into legal tragedy. James didn't hack for greed. He wanted to test limits. Now for a hacker who went from satellite piracy to protecting the everyday internet user. Gumo's story isn't typical, it's transformative. He grew up in chaos, lost his mother young, and turned to hacking for survival. He began by writing code to crack DirecTV, later arrested and given a choice: prison or work with authorities. He chose to help. Today, he claims to hold over $7 billion in Bitcoin, yet lives modestly, working 9 to 5 as a white hat hacker. He builds and secures networks for major institutions like the Chicago Mercantile Exchange and New York Stock Exchange. His motivation? Protecting people from cyber attacks. Gumo's journey proves that even black hat beginnings can lead to white hat redemption. He doesn't seek fame, just purpose. Let's wrap up with a legendary hacker duo who almost triggered an international disaster: Matthew Beavenon and Richard Price. In 1996, two British teens, Coogee, Matthew Beavenon, and data stream cowboy, Richard Price, broke into several military networks, including those of the US Air Force and South Korea's Atomic Research Institute. Beavenon later claimed he was trying to uncover a UFO conspiracy, but their actions nearly sparked global chaos. They accidentally dumped South Korean military research onto American systems, almost igniting tensions between the two nations. Though the hackers didn't cause physical harm, the implications were terrifying. It proved that even teenagers could breach some of the world's most secure networks. Their case remains one of the most serious examples of military hacking in modern history. No war began, but it was far too close for comfort. They didn't just tap into networks, they tapped into history. Some did it for power, some for chaos, and some just to see if they could. But every one of them changed the digital world forever. So who do you think was the most unstoppable of them all? Let us know in the comments below. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next one.